Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me on Etcetera Live. I'm your host, Kelly Barrett. I am beyond thrilled tonight to have the guests that I have on. This is a lady who is making some waves in the Canadian music industry for sure. She has played with some of our biggest Canadian icons: Lee Aaron, Headpins, Chilliwack, Prism, um, Anne Murray, Michael. I could go on and on. I'm pretty sure I could go on and on, but we're going to get to all that. So I'm just going to go ahead and say how happy I am to see that Karen Barg is in the house. Karen.
Hey,
Sister, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm so excited. I'm so grateful to have you here. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I had to do the hair and the makeup, all that. Of course, usually Sunday I'm not wearing any makeup unless I've been at church in the morning. So
I hear ya. I don't put makeup
special
on
for you.
until about 6 o'clock at night.
Right on.
Right on, Karen. It's so good to have you here. You have so many super cool, exciting things going on, and we're going to get to all of them. But I always kind of like to sort of rewind a little bit. And so, can you take us back a little bit, Karen, to how you, for example, when you picked up your first violin and what it was that made you decide to get into the music industry?
Wow. I started playing violin at the age of 4. Yeah. I have a natural ear, an ability to hear music. And my brother and my sister were already taking piano lessons, and I wasn't taking lessons. But as soon as they got off the piano, I started going onto the piano and playing their pieces, which really angered them.
I was going to
And
say,
so,
that went over well.
no, it did not. No, it didn't. So my mom was trying to figure out now, what direction she could take with me, just specifically, just so that I'm not playing on the piano. I mean, I did take piano lessons later on, but
Right.
so she was talking to some friends of hers, and they had their kids in the Suzuki program, a specific learning method that deals with the mother tongue approach. So it's all about listening and copying what you hear.
Right.
So that's how I started. I started taking violin through the Suzuki program with Joanne Martin, and just kept on playing.
And so when you're like that little 4-year-old or 6-year-old and you're taking these lessons, are you already thinking at that age, Karen, this is in my blood, like this is what I have to do?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I wasn't
I'm
thinking
surprised by
at
that
all.
answer.
No, I had no idea. I had no idea what was in store for me. I mean, I enjoyed the music lessons. Music was definitely a big part of my family. I mean, we sing a lot together, and I mean, with me having a Mennonite background, singing is huge. It's
Right.
a huge thing. If you don't sing, you kind of start questioning your background.
You get booted out.
But yeah, pretty much. Shunted. Yeah, totally. Go on. Yeah, once. Okay. But yeah, no, it didn't really hit me that this is something that I really wanted to do until I was actually 26 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
And so what kind of music back when you were 26 was inspiring you or were you listening to?
Well, what essentially happened, like in my teens, I'm playing these concertos and everything, and I was taking lessons with Gwen Hobig, who's the concert master of the symphony here, and like Mendelssohn concerto, Mozart concertos, and things like that. But my heart wasn't really in it.
Right.
And I was a heavy metal head. Like the
A Mormon
hair.
heavy metal head.
Oh yeah, a Mennonite.
Oh, sorry,
heavy metal head. Yeah.
Sorry,
Going to a Mennonite school as well, and it just like that didn't really fit, did it? But yeah, no, I had the teased out hair, like a major hairspray and everything, and I was listening to Metallica and Guns N' Roses and AC/DC, and of course, our Canadian bands like Honeymoon Suite and Streetheart and all these guys, right? So that was more prevalent and in my life. It was more important to me, and I thought, well, this violin isn't going to take me anywhere if that's the kind of music that I really wanted to listen to, because I didn't want to listen to any classical music really.
Right.
So I left Winnipeg. I went to London, England. I lived there for 4.5 years. And then realized it was time to come home. It was time to come home and realize the dream of my violin playing. because I stopped playing while I was out there
Well,
completely.
because, and we've talked about this, Karen, in personal
Yeah.
conversations, you know, you were so far from home and so far removed from the Canadian rock music scene.
Yeah.
And you know, just getting back a second, Karen, with what you said, you know, you're talking about playing all these concertos with all these, like it was nothing, you know, like as you do, you know, when you're,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, but don't you think that what a great training ground for you? Like, what a great opportunity to learn some pretty serious chops before you then went on to a different genre of music.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
it's essential. It's essential to have that as a foundation. Because if you think about it, everybody who's out there now, this is where it all came from.
Right.
It's where it all came from. If you think about it, Beethoven was pretty punk back in the day, you know, like
He was badass.
well, you think about it. And right behind me here, that's a painting that was done by my late Uncle Gus, who I love
Gorgeous.
dearly. It's of Brahms, and he had asked me, "What's your favorite concerto?" I said, "The Brahms Violin Concerto," and he presented this to me and my husband Mark at our wedding.
Wow.
And oh yeah, that's a concerto I still have to. That's still a mountain I have to climb, and I will someday. But it's the foundation. Classical music is the foundation to all music, and so having that background, but also having the natural ear and everything, and being able to marry everything together, like
Right.
that's the thing.
In such a beautiful way, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what? I have to do a couple things first, Karen. First of all,
Sure.
there's a ton of comments coming in.
Oh goodness.
I'm going to get to those in a bit, but I do have to give a shout out to my show sponsors, the official Etcetera Live show sponsors, Writers and Rockers Coffee Company.
Yay, Robert!
Don't we love Robert? And so this week,
Yes.
I'm pretty happy because I have a brand new bag of Todd Kearns Damn It Brew, and I also have a Todd Kearns mug, if you can see that.
Nice.
With Writers and Rockers on the back. So yeah, super grateful to have them as sponsors. Check them out, everybody. There's some of your favorite rock stars that have their own coffee blends. There's cool t-shirts. There's mugs. There's all kinds of merch. And that's at writersandrockerscoffeecompany.com. So of course, guess who's in the house? Chris Preston. Are you surprised that Chris is here?
I'm not. Hey, Chris. How are you doing?
Hi, Chris. I think Chris has been waiting for this all week. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Oh, bless him.
Adele Wilding's in the house. We love her.
Hi,
She's
Adele.
another very talented female jazz artist.
She and I have been talking about collaborating at some point.
That would be amazing. That would be
fun.
amazing. Good evening. She's saying good evening, ladies. Good evening, Adele. Thank you for joining us. Tim Farrell is just saying hello. Oh, good friend of mine, Claudia Santiago. She's like a really amazing rock singer. And she does a lot of tributes to some of the guests that you've played with and guests I've had on the show. And she's saying, hey, beauties. Oh,
hi.
Doug Corby. Hi, buddy. Doug Corby's a good fan of the show. Good to see you. Medina Sebastian, who is watching from Argentina, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, he's saying, saludo, buenos nachos, Kelly, Karen. So yeah, right back at
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches, amigo.
Yeah.
Kathy Gutierrez is in the house.
Hey, Kathy.
Kathy, of course, is the wife of
Daryl Gutile
from
Streetheart.
And you happen to have a jacket on.
I'm representing.
Girls repping tonight.
Yeah, no, this is my favorite jacket, and it's also my cat's favorite jacket. Both of them love to sleep in it.
So good.
They have great taste.
Yeah, right. And you had a pretty cool T-shirt on there too. Show us the T-shirt.
Oh yes. Well, you see, I wanted to wear something today that wouldn't make anyone angry, kind of thing, because you know, just because I mean, I want to make tribute to all these wonderful bands and artists that I've been connecting with, but I have to give props to the first person who really gave me an opportunity to play and to start improvising. And I don't know,
surprise,
if anybody will recognize.
It's Fred Penner.
Fred Penner.
I'll be honest, viewers at home, I didn't know that. I had to ask Karen before the show. I was like, I should probably know who that is. And a very cool T-shirt though. So what's the Fred Penner connection? Because he's huge.
He's huge, yeah. Way back in the early 2000s, his daughter was needing a new violin teacher, and the teacher she had referred me. So I started teaching Fred's daughter Danica, and then when we had the last lesson that she was ever going to have, Fred and I had a long conversation, and he said, "This is not the end. This is just the beginning." of a beautiful friendship. And so, yeah. And then in 2010, I knew that he was going to be playing at an event at the Forks here in Winnipeg. And I texted him. I said, hey, I want to come down. I haven't seen you play for a long time. Because, you know, when I was in school in like grade 3, I saw him at my school and I just like way up on a pedestal, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes, exactly. And so what happened was he told me where he was playing. And then I get a text about an hour later. He says, so you want to play? Oh, sure. And so he says, okay, let's talk about the music and come on over and let's just jam a little bit and let's see how this goes. And so I went and played with him and I've been playing with him ever since. Like, and whenever he's in town doing the children's festival, I'm usually out there playing with him and doing backup vocal and some tambourine, like a good blonde person, you know. So,
and what a great experience to just broaden your experiences in different genres and to work with you, because I really think that's how we get good, is when we, you know, we play with different people and we learn from them and we pick up tips and we leave behind tips for them too. And so I think that whole collaboration with, you know, a variety of different genres, I think, I think that's awesome. And Gordon Enright is saying good evening from Toronto. Gordon Enright's a great fan of the show, so it's always good to see him here. There are a lot of comments coming in.
Oh wow!
I knew that was going to happen.
I don't have my phone on at all, so I have no idea who's on here.
So this is my good friend UC Uzmaki. So he's talking to me first, and then he's talking to you. So he says, "Hey amigo, you're rocking as ever." Now he's speaking to you. He says, "Musically, I'm blown away by your ability. Would you ever think of doing some Rush or La Villa Strangiata?"
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Rush. As soon as we start talking about Luminous String Quartet, we'll talk a little more about that.
And that's next. That was next on my list. Let's talk about the Luminous String Quartet. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Because you are the artistic director.
Yes.
Not only of one of the members, but you are the artistic director. So take it away. Tell us about it.
Well, when I first started doing string quartet work back in, when was it? 1998, sort of around the time when I came back home from England. And I decided, because I lived in England, I'd call my string quartet the Windsor String Quartet. Right. And then back in 2015, I was ready to really make a go of this business and wanted to create a website. And I saw that there was already a website for a Windsor String Quartet, of course, in Ontario.
Right.
So I needed to make some changes. And I went through all kinds of different names and realized that Luminous was probably the best name possible because it's an English word and people understand what it means.
Right.
Luminous is light. Light is, in my belief, light is God, and God is where I get my gift from. That's the biggest reason. That's the biggest reason. The other reason is because luminous is light. It refracts into different colors, as you can see. Like I branded myself now.
You're a colorful lady, Karen.
Yeah, I've got a rainbow in my hair. But that's my logo. Right. And like light, if you're generalizing music breaks off into different genres and styles and things. So it's sort of synonymous with luminous. And then of course the rainbow, luminous rainbow, because we are inclusive. Love is love.
Right. So I love it.
That's where it all started. Yeah. So 2015 was when the business became an official entity.
Right. And I have to just interrupt you there for a minute, Karen, because I love the explanation you just gave, that there's such a powerful meaning behind the name. Because I saw the name, months ago when we first met, and I was like, oh, that's a really pretty name, because who luminous is pretty. But I love the fact that there's like a whole other meaning behind it. And so thank you for sharing that with us. Like it has much more of an impact to me now when I think of the luminous. Yeah. Because of what you just described. So Chris is saying Karen's rainbow hair is the best.
Well, it's a bit faded right now, but when it's bright, it's bright.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the earrings too. Are those your Juno earrings?
These, I had to wear them because we are going to talk about the Junos. These are my Juno earrings. They were made specially for me by my friend Ken Little. He is absolutely amazing with the earrings and bracelets and anklets that he can make.
Wow. They're very good. And they fit. what you were nominated for, but we're going to get, we're going to
Yes.
get to that. So
We'll get to that. Everything has
so
meaning, right?
you have so much to talk about. It's like you have got so many exciting things going on. I'm excited to have you here because, and another thing, so the Luminous String Quartet, which if you are watching and haven't heard them, you do weddings.
Yes.
So you do like traditional
primarily
orchestral, right?
Yeah.
But you also took it one step further and have recorded some really cool Canadian rock songs with that orchestral sound. What was it that made you think I'm going to marry my ability to play the violin with my love for rock music? When did that pop into your head that might be something to do?
Well, when I started the website and everything, and I thought, how can I sort of separate myself from other ensembles in the city? And so started, playing around with arranging and everything using my ear, of course. But the really huge deciding factor was the summer of 2017 when we lost Kenny Shields.
Right.
And there was a tribute concert called at a place called Rockfest. And Pumps and Orphan were playing, Harlequin, Honeymoon Suite, Streetheart. Mike Reno came and did a few numbers and everything, and hence the reason I'm wearing this jacket, because that's really where all this started. And on the way home from the show, like, it just blew me away. It was just an incredible show. And I was talking to my husband, Mark, and I asked him, I said, what do you think about me trying to arrange Canadian classic rock for string quartet? And he says, oh, do you think you can do it? Well, I'm going to try. I'm going to make an effort and see what happens, right?
Yeah.
So I started doing some work, and I was already connected with a dear friend, Jerry Atwell, who we lost in 2019, unfortunately. But he's connected with Jeff Neal, and he found out what I was doing, and so he connected me with Jeff from Streetheart. And so Jeff and I had a wonderful conversation and discussed about what I was doing and why I was doing it. And so the inception of all this really is from Streetheart. It is, it does, yeah, that's where it resonates from.
I love that. I love Jeff Neal. Is he not just one of the best humans? He's been on the show a few times, and he's just, I will say this about Jeff, musical talent aside, that's a given. Everybody knows that. He is one of the most gracious, humble, wise, kind human beings I've ever met.
Yeah, he has a heart of gold, and he shares pearls of wisdom. Like, he has pearls of wisdom.
Right. And that's his and the nature that's beautiful is that he wants to share it. So often people, they get the gold ring and they just want to hang on to it, and I've always had this saying, Karen, that the sunshine is for everyone.
Exactly.
There's enough of it to go around, and the more sunshine we have, the better everybody is, right? So share that stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. But having a conversation with him and just discussing what I was going to do, what I wanted to do, and I also talked to him about possibly publishing some of the music, and he goes, no, don't do that.
We talked about this.
Why? He says, well, then you're no longer exclusive.
Yeah.
Then everybody's going to copy. And it's not about whether or not I want to share this light, share this beautiful
I get it.
thing, but it's, if I let all of this out there, then everybody's going to have this, and it's not going to be a special thing for Luminous anymore.
I totally get that. Get that.
I'll wait till the day that my fingers don't work, that I'm not able to play anymore, and then I'll start considering doing some of that. But until then, I'm going to keep it all right. I get it.
That makes total sense to me. And so tell some of the viewers some of the covers that you've done. I've heard all of them, but I'll let you go ahead and tell them.
Yes. Well, the first album that we recorded, and by the way, I did arrange all of the music. I have to remind myself because I always forget somebody on here. So I'm going to just go into my thing here. I always forget somebody. Okay. So first of all, I had to think about what the title would be for this particular album. And I thought about all these different songs that have meant so much to me over the years.
Right.
And Harlequin's song, I Did It for Love. Right away. I said, nope, that's the title track. It's got to be the title track, because it is truly why I'm doing this. I'm doing it for the love of it.
Right.
And then Street Hearts, What Kind of Love Is This? Pumps and Orphan, Miracle, Tom Cochrane, Human Race, Neil Young's Heart of Gold, Bryan Adams, Run to You, which is kind of funny because every time somebody asks, oh, do you have any Bryan Adams? They expect me to say, some slow songs, but no, we're rocking out here.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Elda Nova's Fantasy, Honeymoon Suites, Wave Babies, Kim Mitchell's Patio Lanterns, Troopers Raise a Little Hell.
Awesome.
Which is actually my mom's favorite one out of the whole thing.
Gotta go, Mom.
Oh, she puts the CD on and she makes chocolate chip cookies. She says it's perfect timing. 45 minutes. Boom, they're done. The last track is Working for the Weekend by Loverboy.
I've heard all of them, Karen, and guys, I got to tell you, and to hear these songs, and I call it strings and axes. There's something about the combination of strings doing songs that are normally performed by guitar. I just love it. I absolutely love it. And one of your other ones that you've done, Karen, that I just think is amazing is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
By Queen. And can you imagine having this orchestra at your wedding, these strings and this and hearing, Bohemian Rhapsody?
It's hilarious.
That's what I would do as a rock and roll chick. That's what I would have at my wedding.
But that's that's the thing. A lot of my wedding clients now, their parents are our age.
Right.
So they grew up listening to all of this music. And so when they see the music that we have available, they go nuts. They go, oh, I remember this. I remember you have to play this. And of course, during cocktail hour, they want Bohemian Rhapsody because after people have had libations,
right,
they start singing.
Right. At the top of their lungs.
At the top of their lungs. And they start singing the wrong words at the same time. And they're singing through my guitar solo. I'm telling them, shut up, this is mine. Oh, it's so funny. It is so funny. And then that event ends up being just so incredibly memorable for everybody there. That's the cool thing.
And Karen, I love that you would say that because I was thinking earlier, and we're going to talk about this right away here. I absolutely love that you're getting out and you're performing with all of, these Canadian icons, who are almost all have been on the show because I think they're Canadian icons, and that's how I choose people.
Absolutely.
I choose people whose talent I'm impressed with, yourself included.
Thank you so much.
And I spent the week watching all these performances with all these other artists, and I think that there's something seriously cool about that, but there's also something really seriously cool about performing at somebody's wedding. That these are memories that these people and everyone there is going to have for a lifetime. And so, wow, how lucky are you and how talented are you to get to do both?
I'm living the dream.
Yeah,
I'm
you are
living the dream right now. I was thinking about it yesterday, and I've actually check marked 4 things off my bucket list already this year. Good
for you. And isn't that what life is about? Really, it's a journey. Check.
Yeah.
And then what? More checks, right?
Well, there's one big one that's on my bucket list that I hope will happen someday.
That was one of my questions. Go ahead. I was going to ask you, is there anybody you haven't played with yet that you really want to?
I want to play with Metallica.
Wouldn't that be?
I want to play Fade to Black.
Freaking amazing.
I want to trade 4s with Kirk Hammett. Oh my goodness. That's a dream. That's a dream for me. And that's one of the biggest ones on my list.
And that's doable.
We'll see what well, they have to come back here first. I mean, I'm a musician. I don't have money to just take off and go see them in Toronto or wherever they are.
Right.
Yeah.
But they have people you can contact.
Well,
I can help you with that. That's my full-time day job.
Kelly,
I am literally a professional rock star harasser for 8 hours a day. That's
wonderful. But one of the biggest reasons that's on my bucket list is because of my husband, Mark. Metallica was his favorite band when he was a kid. Fade to Black was his favorite song.
Right.
So when I arranged Fade to Black for string quartet, I was not allowed, and my husband, he's not a musician. He's a power engineer. Thankfully, he has a real job. So when I finished the arrangement, he told me I wasn't allowed to print it off and put it into the books until he had heard it and said it was good enough.
Wow.
And
it was good enough.
and it was good enough. So the reason for that dream is also not just for me to play with them, but for Mark to get to meet his heroes.
Right.
That's what I
It's
want.
doable. Just, you know what?
Yeah.
It's doable. It's always like look at what you're doing now, and some of the people you performed with that 10 years ago would have blown your mind if someone had told you you'd be performing with Michael Buble or Anne Murray or
tell me. Yeah.
Like what?
The Eagles.
The Eagles. Thank you.
What?
So who was the first major performer that you did a guest appearance performance with out of all
Honeymoon
those?
Suite.
And was your mind blown?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, what happened was in 2019, I went to go and see them, and I was already in contact with Derry because of the arrangement of Wave Babies.
Right.
And I wanted to, I know I don't have to have the permission of the artists to create these arrangements, but right. I'm of the mind that there's a certain amount of love and respect that I have for them, right. for these bands and artists, and I don't want to step on toes. Right. I'm very careful about that. I'm very sensitive about that. So I wanted to connect with Derry and talk to him about this song that he had written, and just ask him if it was okay, because it was going to be done with love and respect and excellence. Because every song that I arrange, I want it to sound as much like the original as possible. Yeah, I don't need to put my own spin on it.
It's a very personal homage.
It's very personal. And so we met and talked backstage, and they gave me tickets to the show, and I of course I loved the show. They invited me backstage afterwards, and Pete Nunn, who is their keyboard player, he had said to me, goes, "Hey Karen, maybe next time we come into town, you play the keyboard solo for Wave Babies."
Because what better song? Actually, Wave Babies is my favorite Honeymoon Suite song. It is the quintessential
such a great
summer song. I hear that song, I think of summer.
Mm-hmm.
And,
exactly.
And the strings, there's not a better song for you to add those strings. Wow.
It's true. It's true. Actually, I got the year wrong. It was 2018 when that happened. It was 2019 when they came back. And when I found out that they were coming, I sent a quick email to Pete and I said, "So, were you serious about what you said?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Let me check with the guys." And so he got back to me and he said, "Come to sound check, and we'll see if it fits in, and we'll go from there." So basically, sound check was my audition.
Right.
And as I'm playing, I'm playing the solo part and everything. And as soon as the solo part was finished, Johnny D, he told everybody to stop, and he looked at me and goes, "Okay, you're in tonight." Yeah. So I was that freaked me out. That freaked me out. But oh man, it was so cool. It was the coolest thing. So they sort of broke the ice on that. So I'm very thankful to the guys in Honeymoon Suite.
Right. It just adds such a cool dynamic to that song. And actually, Christine Danis, hi Christine. So she is saying, just popping in to say that I watched the video over and over again of you playing with Honeymoon Suite, and it was amazing.
Thank you so much.
And it really is. It's like, man, if there's ever a song that works for, like the strings.
It's actually one of the hardest solos that I've written.
Is that right? Eh?
For the string quartet, like directly to it. Yeah, it's a keyboard solo, and it's easier to do this than it is to do this,
right,
on 4 different strings, right?
Yes.
And with a bow and trying to emulate what you hear. So that is actually probably the hardest out of all the songs that I've arranged so far.
And that's probably why it sounds the best. There was a lot that went into that.
I practiced like crazy for that thing. Oh my goodness. For a whole week, I was just like crazy, just going nuts.
Right. And so that night where you're on, like, what's going through your mind? Holy hell.
Pinch me.
Yeah, right? I was going to say.
Pinch me. And then pinch me again. But not that hurt.
Yeah. And Karen, getting back to the Metallica comment, I think if you can pull off a performance with Disturbed, you could pull off a performance with Metallica. That video, I've been watching your videos all week, and the Sound of Silence, man, you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. And they can find that video and most of what we're talking about on the www.luminoussstringquartet.ca that's scrolling at the bottom, right? or where can people find them?
That's specifically the business, like the wedding business thing. But I mean, we do have some audio samples on there, but there's no video. There's lots of video that's been posted on Facebook. There's probably videos that have been posted that I don't even know about that are on like YouTube. The video of me with Disturbed, that was actually done by my friend Diane Saka.
Great.
Yeah, she was at the show, so you could hear her, when the lights come up, you can hear her going, Karen!
I know her!
Yeah. But the funny thing is, I didn't facilitate this particular event. This was actually a phone call I got from somebody in Calgary who had found Luminous online and said, I think you're the right person for the job.
Yeah.
Find a cellist and let's do this.
And by the way, guys, I have posted the Disturbed video on my personal Facebook page. So if you have the ability to watch this show, you can see that video. It's a few posts back. But man, what a powerful, again, axes and strings and like the combination, and it's kind of dark when he's singing the verse, and then the chorus kicks in, the lights shine on you, and the strings hit, and it's just freaking powerful and magical. It's
magical being on stage. But the funny thing was, we backtrack day before. Mark and I had accepted the band Joyous Wolf to come and stay at our house. They were couch surfing while they're on tour with Miles Kennedy and Slash.
Right.
And
as you do.
So their tour manager, Stripes, had phoned me in the morning and said, okay, we're going to be a little bit late getting to the house because we have a meeting with John Moyer of Disturbed. We have a dinner meeting with him. I said, okay, that's fine. He goes, by the way, we want you and Mark to come to the show tomorrow. And I said, oh, Mark will go, but I can't. Are you serious? He says. I said, yeah, I have something going on. Well, what could be so important?
I was just thinking that. What do you have that's going on that's more important?
I'm playing with Disturbed. And he started laughing. And I thought, okay, this is kind of weird. So the next day, I of course, I asked them for a Joyous Wolf t-shirt. And I thought, okay, I'm going to wear this, backstage. And so whenever we do these events, we do the sound checks and stuff like that. This one, we didn't even have a sound check, but they allow us to sit down and have dinner. And so I'm sitting there with my cellist, and walks John Moyer, and he goes and gets a piece of pie, comes around and looks straight at me, goes, "You're Karen, aren't you?"
Who's asking?
Yeah, that would be me. And the first thing he says is that the guys were talking about me the night before, and they were just so happy to be in a comfortable space. So that was huge. And then he said, by the way, the piano is going to go up in flames on stage. How close are we to the piano?
Yeah.
He goes, you're far enough away, but you might feel a bit of heat. I said, okay, but not
don't
like
wear hairspray.
Siberian. Yeah, not. Oh, I had hairspray in the hair.
Oh, Michael Jackson situation going on.
Yeah, Pepsi commercial. Yeah. But it wasn't as hot as Trans-Siberian Orchestra when I played with them in 2012.
Right.
That was pretty hot.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
My God, you guys check it out. Like I said, I posted it I think yesterday. It's on my Facebook. If you're watching the show, it's on that feed, that Disturbed video. It will give you chills. It will. And yeah, I was like, and I think when I posted it, I said something like, did the piano just actually literally start a fire?
Yeah, it did. It did. And that was the funny thing. That was the reason why John had come backstage to talk to us, because he wanted to make sure that we understood. There's fire happening on stage.
Pyrotechnics going on.
There's pyrotechnics, but you won't be that close to it. So, because I mean, our instruments, our acoustic instruments are worth quite a bit.
Right.
So,
and they would go up like tinder wood.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh! So you've also played with Lee Aaron. You did a really cool version of Metal Queen.
Yes, thank you.
With and. So tell us.
That was surreal.
I would imagine.
That was surreal for me because as a late teen, when Body Rock came out, and I just fell in love with that album, and I fell in love with her, and I just like, oh, she's my idol. Like, this woman is a strong, independent woman, and and you know, that sort of started my own journey in terms of being a strong, independent woman. And then moving to England, you know, I had forgotten to take a lot of stuff with me because I didn't expect to be staying out there for 4.5 years. So ended up sort of forgetting about my Canadian, you know, my Canadian icons, and just sort of focusing more on what was happening in England. And my first husband, he was listening to all kinds of techno and stuff like that. And so I had no choice but to listen to some of that. I'm not saying I hate it. I don't. I think that there's some really good stuff out there, but it's not my favorite. So when I came home and I found my tape, my cassette tape of Body Rock, and I started blasting it again, and I'm just like, yes, this is where it's at. This is the thing. And so when I met her for the first time in 2019, and we talked very, very briefly, and found out that we shared the same name, which was so cool. And then connected with her guitarist, Sean Kelly, who has worked with my Uncle Rob in Toronto. My Uncle Rob used to work for Yamaha Canada for the pianos and keyboards there. And they did some things together. And so there was a connection there. So Sean and I connected there. And then when Lee came back in, when was it? 2021. That's right. 2021, she came back. And that's when I met Chris Preston. He was at the show as well. And we weren't allowed backstage for a little bit. And then Sean came out and said, okay, come on, let's go. Come on, backstage. So both Chris and I went backstage, and then continued conversation up in one of the hotel rooms there. And Karen and I found that we have a lot of things in common in our lives, a lot of parallels. And then she said, I want to work with you. And I've heard that many a time, but I take it with a truckload of salt, because
it doesn't always happen.
It doesn't always happen.
Yeah. Because
people just, you know, they have other things in their mind, and that takes over with whatever. But anyways, so April of last year, I get a text message on Messenger from Karen, and she says, remember, I had our conversation last year? And I said, yeah, I do. She goes, well, I want to talk to you. So
because Karen Lee is a woman of her word. Like,
she absolutely is. Yeah. She's another one who's just heart of gold. And so we talked on the phone, and she said, I have a song that I want you on for the new album. And I was just like, no way, this is crazy. What? And she said, when I was writing the song, I was thinking about you. And I went, okay, what's it about? And she said, well, it's about a woman who accidentally kills her partner for cheating on her.
And that reminds me. That reminds you of me.
I said, my ex-husband is still alive, and she says, Karen, this song's not about you. It's okay.
Thank God.
I want angry, screaming, crying, sobbing violin chick.
Right.
I said, oh, no problem.
I can do that. Yeah.
I got you.
I may not be a murderer, but I can do that.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. Well, not with a frying pan, whatever. Yeah. So she sent me the track, and I just sort of started messing around with it, and sent her some tracks back with GarageBand, and as dry as could be, just so that she could add whatever reverb or delay or anything that she wanted to add to it. And then she added it to the song. And I just told her, I said, look, if you don't like what you hear, don't bother using it. That's okay. I won't be offended.
Right.
But then she says, oh yeah, no, we're using this.
How amazing. Yeah. And then I saw you perform with her with Metal Queen, which again, that dynamic.
Like, seriously.
Strings and axes is, I love it. And I get what you mean when you're like blown away, because I met Karen actually in person. I should call her Lee. I've always called her Lee. But anyway, she's been on the show. She's been on the show 4 times, and I finally met her about a month and a half ago in Calgary, along with the Headpins in Toronto. And I get it, that because she has such a strong message, especially for women.
Yes.
And she really has impacted me my whole life too. And in fact, so much so, because when I first wanted to get into the industry, she was one of the women, there was her and Darby Mills, Toronto, all these strong female artists that really were my mentors and really pushed, my drive to get into the industry. But I've never met Lee. Like, I've seen her, but I've never met her. And so the first time she was on the show, I had only been doing it for about 6 months. I hadn't been doing it very long. And I don't get starstruck I don't get nervous. I don't get that. But for some reason, when Lee's first appearance was on about 10 minutes before, I had this like minor panic attack. And I don't know why, but I had this minor panic attack. And I was like, I'm going to be talking to Lee Aaron in like 10 minutes, and I had to like go and meditate and like just.
Yeah, I understand that.
The camera starts rolling 10 seconds in. I'm so relaxed because she's just the sweetest human, in person, on stage, whatever. And so when I finally got to meet her, it was just such an honor, right? And and she's beautiful inside.
Well, when she had asked me, when we were talking about her coming back to Winnipeg and she wanted me to play, and I said, well, what song do you want me to play on? Or like, are we going to do Spitfire Woman? She goes, no, that's not a single. And so we need to sort of, and I'm opening act, and so time constraints, right? So she said, how about playing on Metal Queen? Oh, yeah. Your iconic song. Okay. And what do you want me to play? Like, she says, oh, like play during the guitar solo. But she goes, but make it up. Don't do what you hear. She says, just improv, just play something. Wow. Okay. So that was the first time that I did an improv, like for the guitar solo, where the iconic guitar solo would be.
Right.
And like you, 10 minutes before I went on stage, I'm hyperventilating. I'm going to be on stage with Lee Aaron. Like, this is my icon. This is the woman who,
right.
Who's given me a lot of power as a woman. Empowerment.
Right.
That's the word.
Right. What a great moment. One of those life is good moments. And you performed at Chilliwack, and.
Yeah. You have Bill on next week.
I have Bill Henderson on next week. He is his second guest appearance back, so I love him. I love Chilliwack.
Funny story about Chilliwack. I am in the midst of tweaking an arrangement of My Girl, Gone, 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 which is what I...
That's what was in the video, actually. So Karen's slightly frozen.
For them.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You froze for a minute.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So what happened was, while I'm in contact with Bill, I find out from my dad that I have a family connection to the band. My dad's first cousin was Howard Froese, their first guitarist.
What are the odds?
Fly at Night, that's my Uncle Howard. And so I told Bill, and I started saying, so does that mean I get to call you Uncle Bill? And I started signing my emails, your fiddle niece, Karen, And so, yeah, so there's once in a while I'll send him an email and go, hey, Uncle Bill, So I can't wait to see you talk to Uncle Bill next week.
Right. I think I'll be seeing Uncle Bill this summer at Rock the River.
Nice. Very good.
That's kind of like my big holiday of the year, is going to Saskatoon and seeing and truthfully seeing all my guests, which is very cool, and having the opportunity to meet them in person. And I was at Rock the River 2021, and it was beautiful. Like, it was amazing because I got to meet Jeff Neal and Nick Gilder and
all these amazing
Spoons,
people.
and like I'm going to forget somebody, but you get it. You get the picture.
Yes,
it's really cool to meet these people in person. And so many of our Canadian artists, all of them really, have just been so gracious and generous, and they root for each other, and there's not that sense of maybe vicious competition that might have been there years ago. I don't know, maybe it was,
absolutely.
Maybe it wasn't. I definitely don't see it there now, because even at Rock the River, everyone's backstage. Prism is another band that I got. Mark Gladstone and Sherelle are good friends of mine, and Al Harlow's been on a few times, but they're backstage and they're cheering on their fellow Canadian bands. Like, break a leg, have a good show. And it's just such a beautiful,
exactly it.
It's a beautiful community to be a part of.
It's a love fest. It's a true love fest.
It really is.
And we'll see how things go at Rockin' in the Fields in Minnedosa.
There's rockin' everywhere.
There's rockin' everywhere.
Rockin' the field.
Rockin' the Fields. Toronto will be performing there. And I've gotten to know Barry Connors really well.
Right.
He is, he tells me to tell everybody that he is my big brother. Because, he's my big brother. I've been teaching him violin on Zoom, and he's teaching me drums, which has been really cool. But the connection that we made was because of the next project that I'm working on. And it's taken me a little while because, I mean, over the time of COVID, I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to get all this stuff done and everything. But I ended up going through a bit of depression just because, lack of work and
COVID
and all of these things. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
During the pandemic.
You're not alone. You're not alone in that, Karen, for sure.
So I felt like I was, just procrastinating, but hindsight is 2020. And, you look back and you go, wait a second. No, I was actually going through something. Yeah. So now I'm trying to, once I get all of these 2023 weddings straight and sorted out and booked and started dealing with a little bit of the 2024s, then I can get right back into arranging for the next project, which will be Canadian women.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So of course, I'm going to be covering Lee. I'm going to be covering Toronto. I'm going to be covering Headpins. Anne Marie for sure. I mean, I used to listen to her music with my mom when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Katie Lang, Shania, Siling.
So many great Canadian artists.
There's so many. Yeah. There's so many amazing, incredibly gifted artists and bands that we have here. And something that that's what is setting Luminous apart from other quartets is that, especially, everybody knows about the Vitamin String Quartet down in the States. They do a lot of mainstream stuff, and they've been actually the string quartet who has been doing the soundtrack for Bridgerton.
Right.
So that's another reason why the string quartet business has blown up, because of Bridgerton. Yay. But nobody's focusing on the Canadian content. And we have so many incredibly gifted people here.
Right. Yeah.
And it's time to celebrate what we have in our backyard.
I agree, Karen. I agree. That's why my show is like 99% Canadian icons.
Yeah.
It really is, because that's who I'm proud of. And the guests that I have on the show are people that I grew up listening to and that I love and respect. Yeah. I handpick my guests, and it's for that exact reason. We have so much talent. So I love that you're going down that road, and you're included in that. You are included in that group, and there's a lot of Winnipeg talent. Holy cow. There's a lot of talent.
Oh, yes. There's a lot of talent coming out of Winnipeg. It's true. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just want to give a quick shout out, because again, so many comments. I don't want to. I'm not going to get to them all, but Dino Vizzuti, we love him. He's a good fan of the show. He's saying hi, Kelly and Karen. Really, really enjoying this visit. Gary Jones, hi, Gary. Ed Schoaf. Oh, Ed says electric violin sounds too cool. All the best to you, Karen. Great show, Kelly.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, I do agree. It's G Venuto. We love her. She's agreeing that Lee Aaron is absolutely beautiful inside and out, and she's saying hello.
She is.
Maggie Hall. Hey, sweetheart. Thanks for popping in. Great interview with Karen. Thanks for this show, Kelly Barrett. So yeah, lots of good stuff coming in. I do want to talk about Indian City, because we're going to talk about the Juno Awards here in closing. And so go ahead and tell us about another project that you.
Another project, yeah.
Indian City.
Speaking about Jerry Atwell previously, Jerry was a part of Indian City, and he is likely the driving force as to why I started playing with Indian City.
Great. And
unfortunately, we lost Vince Fontaine last year. He was our illustrious leader who wrote a lot of the songs, and Chris Burke Gaffney co-wrote quite a bit too. So those two were like besties. And so last year, January was a very difficult time, and we had just released the album Code Red, and we weren't sure, what was going to happen after all of this, because Vince was Indian City, right? And so his wife Dorothy, she gave us the go ahead to continue, and his daughter Gabby Fontaine has also been a part of the band, and she started playing guitar a lot more. So she sort of took over her dad's role in terms of playing like more rhythm guitar stuff. And then we got nominated for a Juno for Code Red. And I was a little taken aback when they told me I was going, because I went, well, wait a second. Like I play on 2 songs on Code Red. And they said, no, you're coming with us. You were part of the album. You're part of
Yes.
this. And so we want you there. And so I was just absolutely floored. That's another thing. I never expected it. Yeah.
Check.
Never
right?
expected to be a Juno nominee, let alone walk the red carpet or attend the Junos, And
Right. And so what happens, like, when you get there, like, for all of us that will never see the inside of the Junos, what happens?
It's insanity. It's surreal. Like, you want to take everything in. Like, I was trying to, one thing I say to my clients for the day of their wedding, I always say, be really cognizant of your 5 senses. Use every single sense that you have the moment that you wake up, because then you start to create really small, minute memories, because over time we start to forget things. Right. And so when you smell, the specific coffee that you had that morning, or you taste a flavor of something that, okay, that tasted like the meal that you had, whatever, then memories come flooding back. And that's what I did on my wedding day. But I started thinking, no, I have to do this while I'm at the Junos, because it's going to go so fast.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to remember a lot of things, because it is surreal. Like, you're standing there on the red carpet and you're looking around, and there's Jessie Reyes, just standing over there and getting her hair touched up and her makeup. She's got her peeps around her and everything. You're going, okay, she's walking the red carpet. Oh, we're going now too. Okay, red carpet.
Left, right, left, right, left, right.
Okay, which way do we go? Okay, this way. All right. Okay, fine, good. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. But one of the most amazing
Karen's a little.
We attended.
Sorry.
We're back again. Yeah. So we were at the honoring ceremony, which was so meaningful for all the Indigenous artists. Right. And I decided that I wanted to buy one thing when I was at the Junos, but I didn't want it to say Junos, but I wanted it to be meaningful. So I bought this ring, because my logo colors, of course.
Oh, nice.
But it's a beaded ring. It's an Indigenous ring, and I wear it with pride, and it's on my bow hand, so people can see it all the time.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I just needed something. But the honoring ceremony was really big for me. And then the night of the Junos was crazy. And then after that, every night there was a jam session that would happen at one of the hotels.
Right.
And nominees were invited to go. So I went on the last night, and I played violin for 4 hours. One of the members of Indian City, Jeremy Cause, he made sure that there was a violin there for me.
Oh.
And bless him. And I started playing, and people were going, oh, do you know this song? Do you know that song? No, I don't know it. Tell me what the chords are. We'll have some
Right on.
As you do, right? Like, I mean, you just want to, like, and it didn't really matter to me about who was there. It was a jam fest. It's just like, let's make music.
Yeah, let's come together as Canadians and celebrate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was probably the biggest thing for me, was to be able to just feel like I didn't need to be, like red carpet kind of attitude, or not attitude, but focus. It was just like, let go, have a couple of drinks, let's play, let's sing, let's have a good
celebrate. Yeah.
Celebrate music. And that's what I felt that night. And it was just, it was incredible. But the whole weekend was amazing.
I would imagine, yeah. Like, just to be part of it all, like, just to be representing.
Yeah. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. To be nominated is an honor.
Absolutely.
It truly is an honor. And I'm still pinching myself that I can actually add that to my name. Like, so I thank you, Vince, Chilliwack. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay.
I miss him. I miss him.
I bet.
And we all do. Yeah.
And don't forget, Karen, it's also your talent, right? Don't forget to include yourself in there, because it's your talent. You're well connected, obviously, but people with talent get well connected. That's what I believe. The people that deserve to be they get connected.
Oh, thank you.
You know,
Thank you
and
for
so-
saying that.
Yeah, so it's not
Because-
without deserving on your part.
Well, that's the other thing though. When I was a kid, I was, you know, doing violin as a kid and going into the Winnipeg Festival and winning scholarships, winning trophies for my playing and everything. And my head swelled so much by the age of 12, I couldn't fit through like French doors. Okay. Like it was ridiculous how much I thought of myself. And then I was taken down a few notches by a few people, a few instructors, and then you know, you just get to a place where you start to double guess what you're doing, and you start to question whether or not you really have the talent to do this. And so that's something that has not left me, is still questioning about whether or not this is, you know, am I able to do this?
Yes, you are.
But yes, I am.
Stop
But yes,
questioning.
I
I'm telling you.
But I also feel that, you know, if I allow myself just a little bit of being able to say, oh yes, I deserve this. Yes, this is I have to do this. Like this is mine. This is mine. Then that swelled head would come back, and I don't ever want that to happen again.
Right, I get it. It's a fine balance between humility,
fine line,
and pride, and I get that. And I love.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you are aware of that is humility.
Yeah,
you're already there. Like you're already there. You know, the fact that you are even aware of it, you're where you need to be. There's a level of humility.
Well, as they say in Spinal Tap, you know, there's a fine line between clever and stupid.
I love it.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Right?
Yes,
right?
yes, I do want to make a cover of a Spinal Tap tune for string quartet. I think that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Well, I already have the Trailer Park Boys theme because I wanted it.
Right. Classy, and that's so Canadian.
Yeah.
So good for you. Yeah.
Bubbles
So that actually that leads into one of my last questions is where do you, in a dream world, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself still doing what I'm doing.
Great. Only with more and more people.
Only with more people, positive people to surround myself with. People who will lift each other up.
Right.
With music. Just to keep doing what I'm doing, and maybe have a couple more albums in the works, like, you know, finishing up the Canadian women, getting into the Canadian 80s pop, getting into you know, the Canadian classic rock album compilation #2, because of course I need to put Chilliwack's song on there.
Right.
Rush needs to be on there.
Rush has to be on there.
Rush has to be on there. And I don't know. I might try. Why is that?
Yeah. You know what? You know who I would love to see? You know who I would love to see you perform with is Gowan.
Yes. I'm
like, can you imagine Criminal Mind with strings?
Oh. Yeah. No, I'm
girl.
working on it. I'm working on it. I've already done an arrangement of Diamond Sun by Glass Tiger. And I'm not sure if Alan has heard it yet, but someday he will, if he hasn't already. and like some of the people that I have already covered in the last album, like the only people that I don't know if they've heard it or not is Neil Young, Aldo Nova, and Bryan Adams. So
right. So where can people find your music? What is the best way for people to find your music, Karen?
We're on streaming services. But if you want an actual CD, then visit the website on the on the homepage, scroll to the bottom, and you can make an order, and I'll send one out.
Yeah. Check it out, people.
Yeah. Thank you.
Karen, you're a proud Canadian. We talked about this. You are a proud Canadian, and I have to say that we're proud that you're Canadian. I'm happy that you're ours. Do you know what I mean? And I'm so grateful to have just one more freakishly talented Canadian on my show, and we all and I know I speak on behalf of the viewers. We can't wait to see what you're going to do next. And will you come back?
Either.
And will you come back when you do?
Yes, I will. Absolutely, I'd love to come back. Thank you so much, Kelly.
You're welcome here anytime, my friend. It's been a blast chatting with you. And yeah, guys, check out, especially it's wedding season coming up. Check out the website is scrolling across the bottom. www.luminousstringquartet.ca. Check out Karen's Facebook page. Check out my Facebook page. You got to check out the Disturbed video for sure. And the Chilliwack video is there, and they're all out there. And Karen, thank you so much. We just all wish you continued happiness, health, success, all things amazing.
Thank you so much, and the same for you too, Kelly. Your show is amazing. You have I gave you 5 stars recommendation, but also 5 hearts because you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you're a beautiful person inside and out. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for making me cry on my own show.
Yeah. Oh, I pulled a Barbara Walters, did I?
You twisted the Barbara Walters thing on me.
Didn't I? Yay.
Nicely done. Oh man, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Always good to see you all here, and thank you for your comments. Stay tuned next week. Bill Henderson from Chilliwack will be on. And until we see you then, take care, stay safe and sane, be really, really nice to each other. Bye-bye.